Hey everybody, Nick here, and today, well, I hope this is gonna work. Been having a little bit of internet issues. We'll see whether that crops back up here. But mostly, I am here live to talk to you guys, and gals for that matter. So, just a second here. Let me get everything set up so I can see the chat well. I will go on ahead and start off with a hello to everybody who chooses to join me on this beautiful afternoon, as well as a shout out. By the way, I have a full Blade Show video that will be coming down the road. 100%. That is on my plan. However, I have been waiting because I want to do it right. And, I shot some video. I got to do some editing, and, me and video editing not so together. So I'm taking my dear sweet freaking time on that. I apologize. But one thing I do want to say first and foremost is thank you to everybody who I saw there, who I met there. A number of people recognized my voice and came up to me during the show and just said, "Hey, Nick, nice to meet you," etc. And you know what? That was a beautiful thing. No one was a dick about it or anything. And then the people who came to the meet and greet over at the Blade HQ booth, absolutely solid gems. It was a joy to meet each and every one of you, and it was absolutely humbling to see that there were people who actually wanted to meet me. Like, are you here for Ben from Blade HQ? Because he's over there, right? But anyways, there you go. That is kind of my that's my feeling here, and I figured I would go ahead and do that. A couple of my goal here for this evening. My original thought was I was going to do a Terrible Knives live. The thing is, though, and I'm going to. Don't get me wrong. I have a whole bag of, well, I assume what's going to be crap over there. I haven't been looking because that's cheating, right? But I had a whole bag of crazy stuff in there, and though it's been a very negative time in the knife community lately, and frankly, there's been some negativity just today. And not I'm okay, everything's okay, but I felt like today I didn't want to go that route. Not the Terrible Lives knife. Really, I feel like it's a celebration of crapitude, if you will. But I don't know, it just didn't feel like the right thing for today's tenor, so to speak. So what I figured I would do instead is an Ask the Nick live, where people can basically say, hey, Nick, I got a question for you. And ask me about anything, whether it's gear. I'm happy to talk about gear. Oh boy, do I have gear to talk about. But where they can ask me about gear, whether they can ask me about life, they can ask me for advice. Basically whatever. I'm here at your disposal to answer your questions. One thing I do want to apologize for to start off with is that people are scrolling very fast. Already there are 114 people, holy crap, in the room. And so if I miss your question, that is not personal. That's the fact that most of the time I'm going to be over here gesturing. Why do I not have anything on the table? Gesturing over here to, whereas I might miss what you're saying exactly. So please don't take it any personal if I accidentally miss your question. There's no problem here. On the table here, just so you can tell, there are a couple of things that are coming up for review real quick. Right here, we've got the Enya Knives Diesel. This is the non-flipper version. I also have the flipper version for review. We have the Alliance Designs Laconico. I believe this is the Angry Baby Bear. I can't quite tell its mood, but it sure feels that way. This is the Alliance Scout. Very cool little knife. This is a Herman Knives Sting. It does not glow blue in the presence of orcs. Well, at least they don't advertise it that way, but I haven't come across any orcs. This is the Spyderco Para 3 Lightweight, whose review I am still working on, by the way. This one I'm really taking my time with, because anytime I say something really strong, I want to make sure I'm backing it up. And by the way, it's probably going to be strongly positive. And then this is by J.E. Made Knives. I don't actually know the model of this guy, but it is so... but it is a very interesting little piece. So anyways, there we go. Anytime that you have a question, just go ahead and drop it in the chat, and I will absolutely do my best. So, alrighty. Let's see here. Out of Stab asks, hey, Nick, what are your thoughts on the Spyderco mod? So this is something I've been seeing going on recently, where people have been taking knives without, for instance, or that have, like, thumb studs and things like that, and then modifying them to put a hole in them. So basically, you would take you might take a Shabazz, and this is a small Shabazz, I don't know that it would work super well, but you take it and you drill out a hole here, such that you can use it like an opening hole rather than using the Chris Reeve thumb studs. What are my thoughts on it? It's kind of cool, right? I mean, at some level, it always messes with my head. You're like, that's a weird Spyderco. But at the same time, hey, if it works for you, if it's something that brings you joy, then by all means. I'm not generally huge on modding knives, but at the same time, there are knives like this little Nirvana here, which has been completely reground, which is a pretty severe mod. And, I'll definitely do, like, modifications, for instance. LC200N Native 5 that I picked up recently. The yellow wasn't doing it to me, so I got rid of it, using a little red dye. But nevertheless, I mean, if a mod brings you joy, then do it. Why the heck not? Or actually, my Spyderco Shaman. I have put this set of micarta scales on there. These are from Shepherd CC. He's on the Instagram there. So yeah, there you go. Let's see here. R. Huffman is asking me, thank you, R. Huffman, by the way, for the top chat thing. Those are very easy for me to see. I'm not saying you have to do that for me to answer your question, but I'm going to do my best to answer all those because those folks are sort of putting their money where their question is, so to speak. R. Huffman has asked me, do you have any suggestions for GMTs under $1,000? I assume you're talking about a watch with a GMT function, which for those of you unfamiliar, do I have a GMT watch handy? No, I don't have one, but they have an extra hand that is an extra hand that basically gives you the hour anywhere in the world. You set that independently of the time zone you're in. This is a very handy function for travel and things like that. In terms of GMTs under $1,000, there are actually a fair number of options for you. Steinhardt makes a GMT in their Ocean One Titanium line. A little homage at times. The Ocean One Titanium, not so much. But you can get those kinds of things out there. And so they're under $1,000. I think Christopher Ward's got GMTs under $1,000. The Monta Atlas is a very nice choice for a GMT under $1,000. And so that's something to keep in mind. And what else? Yeah, those are the big ones that are coming to mind. Although the Monta Atlas, to be fair, I think is like 1,700. But the level of fit and finish is much higher. Or the Sky King from them, if you want something that's a little bit more of a classical GMT. That's an amazing watch for, I want to say those are up to 19 or something like that. So those would be my choices immediately. Thank you, M. Chipman. But yeah, great question. Let's see here. Andrew Allahead asks, why not review some more watch micro brands? Support small makers, great value. Andrew, that's a really good point. Absolutely, watch micro brands can provide you great value, 100%. The question with any micro brand, whether it's in the knife game, the watch game, otherwise, is just how consistent are they? Am I going to get, as a reviewer, the only really nice one they've ever done? Like, there have been micro brand watches where I've seen them in the flesh, so to speak, and it was just freaking terrible. And so I want to make sure if I'm reviewing anything that I'm doing so for a company where they're going to be consistent over and over. So I tend to let micro brands develop a bit of a reputation before I go ahead and jump in. But there are definitely some micro brands that I've got my eye on that I want to look at in the future. So, and I also want to make sure you can buy them regularly, because that's the other problem with, like, okay, for instance, Mach 2, MK2, MKII, I guess if you want to look. They're a micro brand for watches. They do amazing work, but you can't freaking buy them because they make like 10 of them or something like that. And so that's a brand that I want to spend time with, but I can't because, well, you can't freaking buy it. And if I can't send you guys to it, it's not important. It's not worth doing. So, yeah, those are definitely something there. People are asking, have I ever reviewed Zinn? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got a review of a Zinn 110. No, I forget which model it was. Anyways, it's up there, SINN. Actually, in retrospect, that review, the watch was out of regulation. It was running about 10 seconds a day slow, and that really angered me, and it still does. A watch shouldn't be that expensive and slower than that, but as I got more familiar with mechanicals, I felt better about it. But there were still enough things that were wrong with that particular watch that I wasn't super a fan. Thank you very much, M. Chipman there. Danny Boy is asking me, hard or soft-shelled tacos? Danny Boy, that's a really important question. That's something that I think every person in their life will have to finally figure out, for themselves. However, for me personally, I am a tortilla person. Like, I am of the opinion that anything can be made better with the addition of a tortilla. I absolutely 100% believe that tortillas are just one of the keys to happiness, right? Tolstoy had always, throughout all of his life, looked for the key to happiness in life, and I think he missed tortillas because he was living in Russia in the 1800s. But anyways, that's beside the point. The tortillas are amazing, and so a soft-shell taco, for me, is absolutely a win. That said, there is a certain joy. My wife, and I love her for many things, but one of the things I love her for is she is very happy to make a sort of sauce sort of thing that's refried beans with some cheese, with some salsa. It's good stuff. And then if you apply that to the inside of a soft tortilla and you wrap it around a hard tortilla, then you put your taco stuff in there. Oh my God, it's like it's gonna give me diaphragm beaties or something, but it's good. It's real good. So there you go. Matthew Yeager is asking me, will I review a Giant Mouse Ace Biblio? I've been looking at the Ace line, and actually I handled one at Blade. They're pretty impressive. I don't know. I've been a little bit, after I had a bad experience with the GM5, I've not been spending much time looking at Giant Mouse, but some of the Ace line, enough people are having good experiences that maybe they merit a second look. I'll take a look when I have a second shot to do so. Thank you very much. Misheard Knife Reviews. There we go. We have, this is Misheard Knife Reviews. He made these beautiful little magnets. He was passing them out at Blade Show. They're absolutely astounding. I'm a big fan of that. I've got it still next to my my review setup here, because I haven't put it on the fridge yet, because I was going to present it at Blade Show. Anyways, notice the Yeet Cannon 9 Fiasco. I don't know what a Yeet cannon is. Is that like, and not heat, but yeet, as in I yeeted it down the hallway. Yeet! But anyways, I don't know what a Yeet cannon is, so I don't have any thoughts on the fiasco involving its ninth version. But it's definitely something I'd like to do in the later. Let's see here. What do we have to hear? Rob, please use your powers to get more Spidey chefs available at retailers. Rob, I'm afraid I have very little in the way of actual power over the world. Because, well, I mean, I have a very limited domain. See, watch, I'm going to move this knife. Oh, yeah, I can do that. I have the power. But unfortunately, when it comes to product line decisions, as well as, in this case, I suspect it's probably just slowdowns at the factory, there's not a whole lot I can do. But I absolutely 100% agree that the Spidey Chef is a great knife and should be widely available. If I hear that they're killing it, I'm going to be very, very, very sad. I have not heard that. I am not making an alarm there. I'm just saying I very, very much hope this is around Spyderco's lineup for the long run. Moyal, something says tortillas are better than tacos, are better than burritos. I'm sorry, tortas are better than, I'm sorry, my bad there. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that, Joy. Look, San Diego, I love it for many reasons. But holy crap, the Mexican food here is astounding. And you can get pupusas, a Salvadorian thing. Good, is good, is good. Eric Johnson asked me, thoughts on Robert Pattinson being the new Batman? So, that's a really good question, Eric. You know, I'm trying my best to keep an open mind. For me, Adam West will always be Batman. I'm not that old, but he had I watched the old Batman TV series a great deal as a kid, and he had a certain charm to him. It's ridiculous at every level. It's campy, it's crazy, but there will always be a little bit of that. In terms of modern Batman, for me, Christian Bale really nailed it. And I say this, by the way, as somebody who is currently wearing a Batman mask. But nevertheless, I am definitely, Christian Bale did a pretty good job. Affleck, I don't know, that movie, The Batman versus Superman, not a gem for me. But nevertheless, so I'm looking forward to a changing of guards, so to speak. I don't know whether Pattinson's going to be the right choice or not. We'll see. Maybe he'll do a great work with it, maybe not, but I don't know. It is what it is. Thank you, Fork and Knife, very, very much. Let's see here. Let's see. Daddy-O EDC says, Nick. Hey, Daddy-O, good to see you. Daddy-O EDC is another EDCer. He actually won my best new EDC channel contest that I hosted shortly before Blade, and for damn good reason. He's both a great guy and a solid reviewer. You should be subscribed to it. But anyways, he says the Cody Utzler duck at Blade. What did I think? Cody Utzler's a guy, I had a review of his stuff way back when on my channel. He is a young maker. He is very young, much younger than me, and so what I have to say about Cody is that I respect how far he's come. His initial stuff was very good, but with some major flaws. I didn't see any of those flaws on the duck. When I walked by and handled it, it was very impressive. And so, although it's not my style particularly, I am very glad to see him continuing to grow, and in another 10 years, he may be toward the top of the game. So I wish him all the best. Even though I had a really bad experience with him back when, I really, really do hope that as he continues to grow as a maker, that he will be among the best in the business, because, well, I'm wishing everybody the best. That's a common misconception that some makers have, is that I am just not a, is that, I hate some companies. There are definitely companies I don't care for, but those are the ones you never hear about on the channel, not the ones that I'm talking about. What I do comes from love of the hobby, love of the makers, respect and such, and, yeah. So anyways, there you go. Exofrey is asking me, what knife is in the lower right? probably talking about this guy here. This is the JE Made. It's a slip joint, but it is a hard-use slip joint with a 3V blade. I am really looking forward to spending some quality time with this. This is a weird freaking knife, but it's kind of compelling, and I can see for some folks in the world this being an interesting sort of affair. Clarence 1, and by the way, thank you, Exofre. Clarence 1, did Advanced Knife Bro, speaking of YouTubers you should be subscribed to, baton his meal when we met? So Advanced Knife Bro and I recently met up and we had some dinner. It was a joy just because I like him as a human being. I think he's a great gear reviewer. You should check him out in that regard as well. But, you know, we met, we had some freaking pizza. He did not, to my great disappointment, bust out his pocket knife, or he better still, a big old fixed blade and start batoning his pizza apart. But nevertheless, it was an enjoyable meal, and I came away from that meal liking him even more than I already did. And that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Let's see here. What people are... Oh, hey, Metal Complex is asking, how tall am I? I am tall enough, Metal Complex. About 6 foot. And by the way, Metal Complex, God, this place is just lousy with YouTubers. Good to see you, Metal Complex. Check that. He's another reviewer. You should check him out. Let's see. What is my favorite knife I own, or is it a hard decision? Says Jacob Piazza. Jacob, that's a really hard decision. I mean, to answer your question, but more prominently... it's really hard to answer, because what do you mean by favorite? I'm not saying you phrased the question wrong or anything. I'm just saying it's freaking hard to decide, because there are knives that mean a lot to me. You know, one thing that comes to mind is this little guy. This is my Chris Reeve knives from Nundy, and I've told this story over and over again, but every time it makes me really happy. This was given to me after I lost my Olamic Buska by a crowdfunding effort, basically, by Spade Knife Works, as well as Dr. Frunke, as well as a bunch of other folks. And it means a lot, because it was basically given to me by fans. And so for me, there will always be a strong emotional attachment to this guy. So in that regard, it's definitely a favorite for sure. I have other favorites. You know, this ProTech Ultimate Sprint, this may be the nicest knife that I own in terms of the actual quality of the object, with hand engraving, as well as they put my freaking logo on it. This is one of the nicest knives that I own, and it's another knife that I would be very, very hard-pressed to sell. I mean, if I'm selling this guy, I am in dire freaking straits, or I'm not going to be able to carry it into the next world. Well, I won't. I know that, but, you know, that hopefully that'll be a little while, right? I like very much this Pena Custom. It's another one of the very, very freaking nice knives that I own. But again, coming down to favoritism, that's really tough, because it depends. They all mean different things to me. They're all beautiful freaking things. So, yeah, that's that's something important. What else do we have here? Checking great questions. Let's see here. Armed with only a baseball bat. Oh, good Lord. How many 10-year-olds wearing bike helmets could I take down? So, okay, this is actually relatively easy to answer, because, so let's see here. I am about 6 feet tall. I got an arm that's ballparking it maybe 2.5, 3 feet, whatever. Sounds about right? Baseball bat is another 4 feet or so. So the real question here is, given the height of the foliage, how many 10-year-olds wearing the bike helmets could I take down to the beach? And they would have to be able to follow me across crosswalks, right? Because, you know, so they need to be able to see me in the distance there. If I had too many of them, I might start losing them. So I don't know. I mean, safely, maybe 20 or so I could take down to the beach. That's what you were asking, right? Because otherwise, that's a really violent question, and I'm not going there. Ryan Renchler said, thank you very much, Ryan. I really appreciate that. I will absolutely enjoy lunch on you, but not in the sense of lunch on you, like the sushi on people. Different thing. I appreciate it very, very much. Let's see here. Any chance of seeing a brown exponent anytime soon, knowing I'm getting away from custom reviews? I don't know. I may well at some point in time. I handled one at Blade Show. He's released one with a thumb stud that's actually a little more appealing. For me, even with the LBHs here, I was absolutely I had a little trouble deploying that guy. The thumb stud one might actually be a little more interesting, but I don't know. He's one of those designers where the design doesn't necessarily do it for me particularly. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Game of Thrones finale, Gem of Junk. I have not actually seen that. The wife and I are rewatching the Game of Thrones right as we speak. As a matter of fact, we just last night got to the Red Wedding. And that's around where I stopped watching last time, and not because, it just, I don't know. But we figured, okay, we ran out of other good drama shows to watch, so let's go ahead and get caught up on that guy. So, and actually, why the heck not? I'll just put some other stuff out here just for visual freaking interest. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know yet whether the finale is a gem or a junk, but we'll figure it out there. Let's see here. Did I ever read choose your own adventure novels when I was young? Yeah, I think I did. That might have been a coming of age sort of thing for 80s and 90s kids. They were a little cheesy in retrospect, and now that you got smartphones, it's like, why? But there's definitely some joy to it when they're well written. That's definitely a thing. Let's see here. This guy does stuff has asked me, hey, Nick, on a scale from pineapple to East Germany, how many kangaroos would 45 purple triangle? Formulate your answer with an interpretive dance. Okay, so, hold on. Boom! There you go. Hope you enjoyed the answer. Let's see here. Brody McDonald asked me, now that Gonzo has more original designs and doing some D2 and are hugely popular, will I review any? Brody, I'm always a little bit torn on that, right? Because a lot of what they're selling are still very strongly derivative from other makers, and honestly, it just feels a little bit lazy to me. I'd rather support the companies out there who are doing a lot of work that is just pushing forward, that is doing their own kind of thing, and haven't gone that. So, that's, I don't know. I mean, maybe someday down the road, maybe if they keep up, and if they discontinue the stuff that's very, very, very derivative, and it feels a little bit less lazy, I'd be a little bit better. But, I don't know. At the moment, probably not. I appreciate them branching into more original stuff, but yeah, it's tough. Let's see here. Let's see. Pinky 2019 asks, do you feel I'm too much of a Spyderco fanboy since they send me knives? So to be fair, Spyderco aren't the only people who send me knives. And I am certainly a fanboy of other people. And honestly, I really do my best to make sure that I am not letting my fanboyism get in the way. There have been knives that Spyderco has sent me that really didn't do it for me. There were knives that Spyderco has sent, like, okay, the Hanan, for instance. It was the Brad Southern design. Unfortunately, that just wasn't a very good knife. It was crippled by a really bad detent. It had a lot of little issues in there that added up to something that I really couldn't recommend. And so I do my very best to make sure that even when a manufacturer, and perhaps especially when a manufacturer sends me stuff, that I'm not letting that control the content of my review. That said, part of the reason that I let Spyderco send me knives is that I am a little bit of a fanboy. What I mean by that is that by and large, I do my best not to get myself into reviews that I know are going to be bloodbaths. This is part of my being the gem hunter. I don't want to spend my time reviewing something that's awful when I could be reviewing something that's really good, that I can recommend to people. And so Spyderco, the part of the reason I have that relationship with them, although, again, that's not necessarily a long-term thing. They could cut it off anytime they damn well please. But nevertheless, and I'm not saying they're planning to, I don't freaking know. I'm not in their boardroom. But nevertheless, Spyderco is a company that by and large has a lot more hits than misses. And so, I'm very interested in, working with such companies. If they're getting lots of hits rather than misses, that's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, there you go. That's kind of my basic feeling. Is that, I try not to let it affect me. And if you feel like that affects my reviews, then, keep that in mind. That's why I'm always very upfront about that. But I hope that that's not the main driver of my impressions thing. The best thing to do is to, try it yourself and see if you disagree. So there you go. Let's see here. Hey, Nick, I'm currently on a trip to Detroit and Ann Arbor. Any good things to do or food to eat? So, enjoy the humidity. We'll start off there. For those of you who don't know, I spent a while there in Michigan, and not so far from the Ann Arbor area. Important places to go food-wise, I would go to, the Zingerman's Deli. It's the world's most expensive freaking sandwich shop, but they're good. They're real freaking good. And so I would definitely spend a little bit of time and a lot of freaking money there. Unfortunately, it's like $50 when my wife and I would go, but we got the garden party, side sale, whatever. It's beside the point. As well as there's a place called Haifa Falafel. If you love falafel, like as good as San Diego is for Mexican food, Detroit, Dearborn, Ann Arbor was good for Middle Eastern food. And I do love me some falafel. Haifa Falafel is a little hole in the wall, just terribly decorated one, but super freaking good. Oh my God, was it excellent. So that's another place I would recommend. It is much, much cheaper. It's, hole in the wall style. So there you go. Oh yeah, and of course, yeah, you could hit up Lewis Jewelers. They're my freaking watch dealer. I'm sorry, watch pusher. I should say that way. Yeah, they tell them Nick sent you. They'll hook you up a little bit. But nevertheless, that's a thing. Let's see here. Sorry, that was a thing. Let's see here. Brian Knudsen, thanks, Brian, asked, did I get a carbon fiber S90V Shaman? No, I actually didn't. I was thinking about it, but the thing is, look, I have a Shaman. Sorry, I have a Shaman. And I like it a lot. Come here, Shaman. And it's the M4 version. And, for me, almost M4 makes a little bit more sense in a big, beefy fixed blade to me than S90V. They're both great steels, no problem there. And I really like the micarta. I handled the carbon fiber one. And, if somebody handed me one, I'd be like, yeah, awesome, thank you. But I think having one Shaman should be enough. And I do like the M4 version a lot. That was what I was really happy for. So there you go. Let's see here. Brian Lai. Are you Brian Lai, the designer of the Spyderco amalgam, Brian Lai? Okay. Hi, Brian. I actually met that guy at Blade Show. He's a really nice guy. Joy to chat with. But anyways, there was a table of knives at Blade Show that Brian and I happened to be walking together for that chunk of things, where they had these really, really amazing high-end looking knives that were really obscenely cheap with steel labels that felt a little bit ambitious for the price point. It was like, $250 for a S125V and stuff like that. That was a little bit kind of crazy. So yeah, I walked away from that booth thinking I was going to do more research, and indeed I'm going to do more research, but for the moment, I want to get a little bit more feedback on that, because if it turns out to be something a little scammy or sleazy, then it's not something I'm looking to go for. Let's see here. Kiefer is asking me, ever getting a new Olamic busker? Kiefer, I am absolutely on that. I am on both the busker and the newly announced whippersnapper. I've been working with Olamic to kind of come up with the right design, and look, whenever I deal with makers, I am really self-conscious of the fact that, unfortunately, when I order a knife from a maker, it puts them in a very awkward position, because they are going to want to, hey, Brian, it is him. Anyways, they're probably going to want to do something, I don't know, hopefully the standards are such they'd be happy with me having anyone, but I know that puts a little bit of undue pressure on there, because I've got a little bit of an audience. I have 260 people staring at me moving my hands in interpretive dancing right now. But anyways, so I always make sure I never want to get bumped ahead of other paying customers just on the basis of who I am. So I always tell makers, take whatever time you need. My knife should be the very last one you make. Not like, that's not a threat, by the way. It's just like, I don't want them to be bumping other people in favor of having me, there. So, and Olemic has held me to that. We talked about it before Blade Show, but they were getting ready for Blade. They were doing some things. And so I'm very much happy to have them take their time there. I just don't want to be unfair. I don't want to shake makers down for freebies. I don't want to, I don't want to be a dick about any of this, and abuse whatever little weird position I happen to have. And that's part of it. So we're definitely in discussions about that and working on it. But yeah. That's a thing. Let's see here. On smooth action and fun flipping alone, what knife would I recommend under $200? Oh, good God, that's tough. Under $200. Smooth action, fun flipping. One that comes to mind is the North Arm Knives Skaha. This guy is a really impressive little knife for under 200 bucks. Also has great S90V. S90V, S35VN. My apologies, thinking of the wrong damn knife. But anyways, this is a really nice knife for great flipping action and whatnot. Under 200, what else? Honestly, the world is kind of your oyster there. We Knives does a bunch of great stuff. Even Civivi, if you're looking for fun flipping action, the modern Civivis are really freaking good for that. You get really nice action. There are so many good options these days, it's kind of hard to say. Trevor asks me, thank you, Trevor, of course. Are you planning to review the Spyderco Chaparral Sun and the Moon? I can't wait to pick one up. Hopefully they come in soon. So I don't have any information on the timing of them, but I did get to see them at the Blade Show, and they are indeed pretty attractive. I think it'll be a very cool little piece. Buddy of mine that I went with is just absolutely over the freaking moon with it. So, that was not a bad, that was a terrible joke. Over the moon. It was over the sun, too, for that matter. But nevertheless, that's a thing. Let's see here. My dance was a pure gem. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm glad I lived up to your expectations there. Let's see here. What are we doing? The, what do I think of the Save the Ocean Seiko Samurai? This little guy right here. At the moment, it's not charged up. Charged up. It's a freaking mechanical watch. I haven't worn it lately, meaning in the last 72 hours or so. It is a great watch, and especially once I put a real clasp on it here from Strapcode, it is even better. But it is a very, very nice watch, and frankly, if I were a sane man, this would be my last diver, and we'd be freaking done with it. So, yeah, there you go. Let's see here. What else are we doing? What do I plan on doing for 100,000 subs? Honestly, I haven't yet acknowledged the possibility that could happen. Like, I know it probably will at some point in time, just like mathematically, given the rate of increase, but that number hardly makes any sense to me. 100,000 people is ridiculous. To have more subscribers than small countries, that's a little nuts. Anyways, very small country, I suppose. I got the Vatican beat, that's for damn sure. Let's see here. Clarence One asks, when is the next giveaway to benefit domestic violence shelters? So actually, the very next charitable sort of raffle thing is going to benefit St. Jude's Children Cancer Foundation. The reason I've chosen that charity is actually because a very, very generous viewer has donated a bunch of stuff, and his only condition was that it benefits St. Jude's. And look, I'm totally cool with that. St. Jude's does amazing work, too. And so, for me, although generally speaking, my giveaways are going to benefit domestic violence charities, because I think that's a really important cause, given that 100% I am willing to help them as well. So, there will be another giveaway for domestic violence. Okay, one thing I got to shout out real quick. This is a knife by Holt Blade Works. This is a latest generation Spectre. And I finalized my order for my Spectre at Blade, and you can hear the smile in my voice. It's going to be good. But anyways, the freaking Holts, who are, by the way, amazing people independently of their knives. I ended up having breakfast with them one day, and it was really, really, they're cool. They're awesome folks. But anyways, they donated this knife, this $700 plus knife, to the channel for a charitable giveaway. They just said, Nick, we want you to have this and do something charitable with it. Holy crap. I didn't ask for this. They just did it. That's amazing. And it blows my freaking mind, and I'm going to be doing something like this. I also have some other charitable plans in the works that I'm not able to talk about quite yet, but I'm hoping to do some really amazing collaborations for charitable work with some really amazing makers along this line in the future. The Holts are going to kind of start, they're clearing the vanguard, so to speak, but man, are they good. So I am really, really, really happy about that. I liked the Holts a lot because they were excellent knife makers. But now that I know that I like them as humans as well, and now that they're doing that, it's always hard to like a maker as humans and remain unbiased about their products. Luckily, they make it easy for me. Like, there's this conflict of like, you make terrible knives, but I like you as a human. that's not an issue with the Holtz. Frankly, it's not an issue very often, but nevertheless, I really like that. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. Nathan has asked me to say Nathan is a machine. And I think that should do it for him. I am more than happy to be paid to say. It's like if you ever watched Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR, they had one of the prizes was Carl Castle, rest his soul, his voice on your home answering machine. No one has home answering machines anymore, but there you go. I'm happy to do that. Justin Degnan asks me, how much will the Sage 5 lightweight be? Justin, I am sorry, I have no freaking idea. Maybe Spyderco has announced that, maybe they haven't. But unfortunately, I don't know really anything about pre-release knives. I haven't handled one. Actually, no, I did handle one at Blade. It was nice. But I don't know anything about anything else. So there you go. Oh, good Lord. Nathan is a sexy machine. Okay, you're pushing it here, Nathan. You're pushing it. I am not going to hit on you for pay. Well, okay, maybe I will if the pay's good enough. That's beside the point. Let's see here. What do we got here? Nick, what is the worst knife you have ever had? And I can't say the Z Hunter. So the Z Hunter, actually, I have a little update for you. Remember some time back I did a... hold on there. I did a situation where I actually carried a Z Hunter for the better part of a week. And I used, for that Z Hunter, this little guy right here, Robbie. I sharpened him up and everything. Recently, I took Robbie out of the drawer that is for a, what the heck video was that? Oh, that was my steel video, a hard disk video. And I noticed that Robbie is actually in the drawer cracked, which is pretty excellent. Or maybe it was the first time I flipped him afterwards, but this is a pretty bad knife. I'm not super impressed with it, but some of the terrible knives live I've had, they don't all have to be Z Hunters to be awful, and they've been pretty freaking awful. Let's see here. Trevor is asking, follow up on the Sun and the Moon. Did I hold it? I'm wondering if it has a little bit of traction or not as slippery as the Raffia Noble. I'm sorry, Trevor, I did not. So there you go. Let's see here. Nick, I'm basically becoming a phone sex operator. Yeah, it's a very weird kind. Look, I've often had people comment on the fact that they will watch my disassembly videos and hear like, because I mean, seriously, as I'm disassembling these, like, I'm pretty sure on this guy, there was that moment where I adjust the pivot and I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, man, that's good. Oh, wow. Oh, that action is amazing. Where it just sounds so dirty. And so I definitely wonder what my neighbors think I'm doing, wearing a Batman mask, sitting in front of a window, going, oh, yeah, that's amazing. Oh, hold on, I got to put a little bit of lube on there. It's definitely a thing. So, yeah. Let's see here. Pinky 2019 is asking me to review more budget knives. Pinky, that's definitely on my mind. What budget stuff have I reviewed lately? I've been doing some budget reviews. Got some Civivis reviewed lately. Looking at my little thing over there to see what I got going on. What else have I reviewed lately? I'm going to be doing some crickets here soon. That sounds wrong. CRKT knives. Yeah, oh God. Put that one on the soundboard there, people. Anyways, yeah. Let's see here. Alan Aviation asks, now that you're hitched, are there any plans for a little Nick? No, not at all, Alan. And that is actually, there are plans for not a little Nick. I'm not, we're not having kids. There have been surgical steps taken to prevent that. It's just not something I feel comfortable doing right now. I'm not looking to bring kids into this world, but that's, and I'll be honest, there's some stuff in my genetics that don't need to be passed down. So the wife and I are both very clearly in agreement and have been since the day we met that was not in our future. Jackie Chow asks, your take on the Canadian Border Service Agency, I think is the name, blocking Canadian knives. Jackie, it's unpleasant. I'm really unhappy about it. There was a time where it felt like maybe there would be some movement on that legislatively, but there doesn't seem to be. And so Canadians, write your members of parliament, or if is that the term? Members of parliament? Either way, Canadians, write the people who make the freaking laws in your area and try and have them fix that, because that's a really unfortunate thing that I gather is really screwing with some people's lives. So there you go. Nathan is asking, how is the M9 folding bayonet you sent me? Oh, good Lord, it's hanging out. It's a thing. Oh, it's a thing. Come here. this little bit of joy right here. How the heck is this? Oh, that's right, because yeah, it's a thing. That's how that is. Let's see here. Metal Complex asks, "Hey Nick, how much do you bench?" So, actually, Metal Complex, that's a really good question. One of the things that actually surprises a number of people when they watch my Instagram feed is that you'll very often see me take pictures on public transportation. Because honestly, where I work, it's a little bit expensive to park in that area, and I happen to be living in a place that's actually not so far off of a bus line that can take me more or less directly there with a stop at do. And so as a result, I take the public transport. And as a result, though, Metal Complex, to answer your question, how much do I bench? I end up benching a great deal. Because, you're waiting between buses. What do you have right there? You've got a bench. So I bench. It's easy. And so although I try and stand, because, I sit a lot at work, definitely there is a fair amount of benching that goes on there. Good question. Let's see here. Pat Hammond and Mini Tolk size comparison. I don't know who Pat Hammond is, but here is the Mini Tolk, and I assume that whoever Pat Hammond is, they're going to enjoy that. Nathan, 50 Shades of Nick Shabazz. So Nathan, if you are interested in that product, take a look at my April Fool's video from 2017? No, 2018, I think it was, where I actually recorded myself reading a number of audiobooks, including a selection from 50 Shades of Grey. So there you go. That's definitely yeah, you'll enjoy that video. It's a little crazy. Let's see here. Sage 5 lightweight, pretty please. Absolutely. As soon as I can get one, I will be getting one. Let's see here. I need to start a video series called Nick Picking. So actually, although actually, to be fair, I do pick locks as a hobby. There's a little bit of joy there. I'm not very good at it, mind you, but I do try. So that could be a series of videos right there. But actually, some people have argued that my Knife Gripe series with Knife News should have been called that. By the way, that series has ended because, well, I ended up griping about a lot of the main things I got to gripe about, but they are all still online. They are not on my YouTube channel. You have to search Knife Gripes Nick Shabazz on Google, but you'll find the website with all 50 videos posted there, and you might find them mildly interesting there. Let's see here. James Moore asks, what do I think of the Alamic Whippersnapper? Eugene, head of Alamic Cutlery, take my money. That's what I think about it. Let's see here. Justin Miller asks, do you do any drugs or vape? No, I don't. Well, okay, that's not fair. I take antibiotics and Tylenol and things like that. But I am not a big fan of recreational drugs, and I do not vape because, well, I am not a cloud. I have no need to pretend to be a cloud. But I don't tend to do recreational drugs. I got a lot of family history with that, and I just decided not to poke that sleeping dragon. And not to sound too preachy, but, especially these days in our culture, there is a great deal of pressure on young people, and especially you get to like college and such like that, like, oh, it's time to start drinking, time to start experimenting. You don't have to. I mean, that's the one thing to always remember. You don't have to drink. You don't have to do drugs. You can be social without being a social drinker. It's a possibility. So don't let anybody ever tell you, oh, you have to do it. No, you don't freaking have to do it. I was about to say I turned out all right, but here I am wearing a Batman mask with 9 knives in front of me. So clearly all right is at least relative here. That's definitely a situation. What do we got here? Okay. Merge the EDC, says Scott Berg. Thanks, Scott. Omega and LC200N, Casio and S90V. Can we get into watch knives? Oh, good Lord, no. That's all I need. LC200N would be a fine steel, I suppose, for a watch case. I don't necessarily know that I need it, but, I do like titanium watches a lot. That's kind of a merger, right? But, no, I don't need blades from my watch. Honestly, having blades anywhere near this whole region, not super doing it for me. So, yeah, I'll pass on that, that is. Brian Lai asked me, any update to my recent lube preferences? Good God, first you asked me to call people sexy, and asking me to talk about lube. Actually, Brian, I recently did a video talking about my knife tool maintenance toolkit. And my preferences really haven't changed. It kind of comes down to, for the most part, 90% of my assembly is using Nano Oil 10 weight and Knife Pivot Lube regular. I tried the Knife Pivot Lube heavy, and I gotta be honest, it didn't seem to do all that much different from the regular stuff. I will use the Knife Pivot Lube always on knives with phosphor bronze washes. There it seems to work a little bit better. Just, I don't know, provides a slightly better feeling, for lack of a better word. The viscosity is a little different. The nano oil feels like it lasts maybe a little hint longer in bearing action knives. It's not a big deal. But those are my preferences there. So I'm sorry, Renee Chef. Top right is the Pat Hammond Scout. Of course it is. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. That's all. Here is the Pat Hammond. Yeah, it says Pat Hammond right here, guys. I am not a brilliant man. In case you, kids, you don't have to do drugs to be an idiot. That's for sure. Here is a size comparison against the Pat Hammond Scout and the Brad Southern Mini Tolk, which, by the way, has come back to me. I am. Thank you, Renee, for saving me from a million comments. You idiot! Actually, I'll still get the comments. By the way, the Mini Tolk here is actually a knife that I have that has come back to me. I sold that some time back to my buddy Sid at a time when I was very disillusioned with a lot of knives. And recently, I was talking with Brad Southern at Blade Show. I handled a couple of Mini Tokes, and it was just very, very impressive. And so, and Sid actually reached out to me and said, hey, Nick, I'm looking to sell this guy. I'll make you a really good deal, because Sid's been incredibly generous to me over the course of his time. Sid137 on Instagram. You should give him a follow. But anyways, and he offered me an amazing deal on this guy, and I took it, and now it's back in my collection. Nathan says, Nick, I want to buy a knife from me right now. Okay, that'll be a little difficult because I'm kind of running a live stream here. But, absolutely 100%, shoot me a message. There are the predictable, you idiot, posts in the comments there. Shoot me an email. We can talk about that. Although one thing I'll say, Nathan, is that generally all of the knives that people ask me, how do you buy? Here comes the plug. All the knives that I end up selling, by and large, go on Patreon to be sold. Because those are the folks who support me, and I want to support them by giving them good deals on the gear that I see on the channel. So, that's the best place to buy a knife from me. So there you go. What are we doing here? Let's see here. I think this person is spamming. Maybe not. We'll see. The knife that I carried today, Renee Shabazz, is this little guy. This is the Penny Knives Diesel. And I carried the thumb stud version today. And I'm getting ready to do a review of it. And there you go. So that was in the pocket today. What do we got here? What knife does Nick's wife carry? Generally speaking, what is she carrying lately? For a while, she was carrying, what the heck's the name of it? The freaking excessive Ken Onion Curvy Blade ZT. I don't even remember the freaking number of it. 0350, is it? The one that kind of looks like an angry sunfish or some variety? Either way, I had one on the table and she fell in love. It's like, okay, sure. Have fun. She tends to like bigger knives. She tends to like kind of crazy knives. So that's kind of her style. Joshua, I already identified this guy. This is by J.E. Made Knives. Do I know how to cook? Asked Tyler S. Tyler, no, I know how to survive. Like, I know how to make bachelor meals. Like, I can make stir fry. That's about it. And by the way, the only thing you do is you put vegetables and a substitute of meat or meat in a dish, and you go over and over again until it's done. So it's not super hard. But aside from that, I can make pasta. I can keep myself alive. I am not a cook. I am not very good at that. Luckily, my wife is an excellent cook, so it works out. But yeah, usually on nights where my wife doesn't feel like cooking, I cook, and what that means is we go someplace. So that's a thing. Let's see here. Justin Miller asks, is it mean of me to think that you might look like Moe from The Simpsons? That's a fair question, Justin. A lot of people have asked me that. The thing is, holding two knives, this feels pretty incredible. It's a Simpsons reference. Anyways, and people do ask me to read obscene things out on Instagram all the time, so on live streams. That's a thing. Let's see here. Psychotic Kosov asks, hey, thanks for the donation, Psychotic. That's a weird thing to say to somebody. Do you see or have any predictions on knife making for 2020? That's a good question. A lot of the trends, actually, that I've been seeing have been kind of on the up and up. Like, for instance, modern traditional has become a major thing. A lot of folks, I've been hoping that was going to be the case, and a lot of folks are making it so. So that's definitely been interesting. Honestly, what I'm hoping for, I can't give you what I expect. Because right now, 2019 has had some really exceptional knives out there. The Cold Steel AD-15, the TRM Atom is really exceptional. What else has been just blowing my freaking mind? Into a Triway, although that was last year. What else has been blowing my mind? There's been some stuff out there. Anyways, my mind has been blown a number of times, but right now I'm feeling more and more like quality is no longer the battleground, so to speak. And by the way, thanks Tony V33. Quality is no longer the battleground. Lots of companies are working with factories that can, or are making themselves, I don't want to demean that, are making things that are just really amazing, that are really high quality, that have a lot of really excellent, excellence to them. Excellent excellence, there you go. And so, I feel like more and more people are going to start having to compete on other things. They're going to have to compete on things like unique designs. For instance, this is the Kaiser Minitherium here in Damasteel. This is a unique design, so I think that's going to be a thing. So I hope to see more competition outside of just like drop shutty action, because most people are getting drop shutty action. Amazing that that's not enough anymore. Now they need to be doing the whole package. So I'm hoping that we're going to see a trend towards thinned edges, for instance, would be really nice, a thinner blade stock. Because of course, there's more to life than thin blade stock, but a thin blade stock combined with a very thin edge makes for amazing cutting power. I think integral knives, yeah, they're definitely a thing lately, but they're also a thing that a lot of folks are doing, so it's maybe a little bit less. There you go. Let's see. We have a bunch more people requesting me to say things out loud. Oh, good Lord. Big hello to Anita, Bella, and Valentino. I don't know who those are, but a big hello to all of you. Let's see here. Please, more greater than 3-inch and 1-inch height in 2019 and 2020. Oh, you're probably referring to pocket knives. I'm very happy to see a trend now towards small knives, but I very much do hope that we see a resurgence in that 3.5-inch range. That's that's definitely a thing. Austin is amazed that I use the word yeet. Austin, I am very happy to yeet things, especially empty cans, things like that. Yeeting is not a problem for me. That is a word that I am very happy with. So don't worry about that. Yeah, anyways, what are we doing here? Let's see here. Daddy OEDC says, I've been noticing lately that makers are getting on board with aggressive grinds. So many knives I handled at Blade were ground very thin. Yes, I agree with you, Daddy O. In fact, there have been a couple of factories that have really been doing great work. For instance, the Kaiser Minitherium has a very thin grind. TRM has been doing that for a little while, but there are some other companies that are doing very, very thin little grinds here. Even, for instance, this little guy, this Scout, is actually a quite thin little edge. There were a lot of makers out there who are doing amazing freaking work in terms of the thinness at the edge. And so I hope that makers are starting to realize that that is a way to differentiate themselves, not on pry bar ability, but on cutting power. Some companies have done that well for a while. Spyderco, by and large, Pisons aside, are really good about making nice thin edges, but other companies have struggled a little bit more. So there you go. Let's see here. Hold on. Did he say less than 3 inches? Oh, I'm sorry. He did say less than 3 inches. I read that as greater than. Turns out that this is different from this. Go figure, right? Anyways, I swear to you, I've got a PhD. Yeah, less than 3 inches would be nice as well. I do like them very much. Let's see here. Valentin Plutnichenko asks, Nick, do you travel abroad to buy and see how knives are made? Valentin, I would love to do more of that. I would love, for instance, to go to, I'd love to go to, well, the Taichung factory, that's one freaking place. I'd love to go to Guangzhou. I'm sorry I mispronounced it entirely there, Chinese-speaking audience. I'd love to go to places like that, and see knife factories. I'd love to go to Maniago, that'd be cool. And frankly, I've gone to visit other places. I'm hoping I might get out to visit Benchmade and CRKT at some point in time over there in Portland, which given is not abroad, but still. And I've been to the Spyderco Golden Factory. And so, I've definitely seen that. And, this is, remember, not my day job. I have a full life, and then this is the bonus on the side there. So, that is definitely a thing. He all zero asked, do I like the band Queen? Actually, I do. I'm not like the biggest Queen fan ever, but they've got a lot of really nice songs. I'm a big fan of that. And what was it I watched the other day? Bohemian Rhapsody. It's not entirely accurate, but it's a biopic of Freddie Mercury. Pretty good. Adult themes in places. Keep that in mind. But it's definitely a thing. Let's see here. Alec asks, is Tupac alive? No, not to my best of my knowledge. But, who knows? Maybe I'm Tupac. Actually, That feels pretty unlikely. But nevertheless, it's worth saying. Our Gonzification D asks, when's the next Gear Geeks Live? It is filmed. We're just in the process of editing it together. So that's definitely a thing. Let's see here. What is the minimum number of knives that the average person should own? Remember, the average person has like a couple of kitchen knives and they're done with it. We are a little bit, and I say we, the people who are interested in knives tend to be a little bit strange. But I would argue that for a pocket knife collection, probably 3. You want a good all-arounded daily driver sort of thing. You want something probably a little bit beefier. Usually, I mean, a fixed blade is generally the better idea there, but a beefy folder. Then you want probably something, relatively small and elegant for that kind of. I think with those 3 kind of knives, you ought to be pretty much good to go, just generally speaking. But yeah, Tyler S. says, do you think birds are real? Tyler, I actually at one point in time had a cockatiel, which is a small parody-looking deal. I'm pretty sure he was real. He bit me enough times that I feel like that's probably a real thing. And the seagulls outside my freaking windows, they are real. I guarantee you that 100%. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. Let's see here. What do I think about mass drop knives in general? Tony, I actually think they're quite good lately. Mass drop has been doing some very impressive work. I was originally kind of cool on them because the company wasn't that great for a little while in terms of their customer service, that kind of thing. But that said, they've done some better work. I've been very impressed with their stuff lately. So, do I have any mass drop knives here? I do not offhand. Do I? No, I don't. But either way, they do good stuff. Lately, I've been pretty impressed with them. Let's see here. And the thing is, I'm not even like right on the coast. It's just I'm by a parking lot, so seagulls are just like up there. It's a thing. Let's see here. I'm sorry. Yes, mass drop is now called drop, and they are putting a D on the side of their blade. So I guess it is fair to say that I like the D. Anyways, that's beside the point. Let's see here. JFS Latte is asking me, hey, Nick, Spectre or Rask? For me, probably Spectre. The Spectre has a couple of little details that I think put it a little bit up above and beyond the Rask. The build quality is very similar. The smoothness is maybe a little bit better on the Holt. I just kind of like the Spectre a little bit more. The Rask is a very nice knife, though. Let's see here. Do I miss Michigan? Asked Pinky 2019. Pinky, I'm going to be honest. I miss a lot of people in Michigan. There were some amazing folks down there in Michigan, but I do not particularly miss the climate or the location. To me, the desert area feels a little bit more like home. And San Diego is kind of deserty. And so although again, there were amazing people in Michigan, it was a great place. There were some great opportunities for me there. I am not particularly tempted to move back. Sorry, Keith. Sorry, my buddy Keith is in Michigan and always sends me angry updates on the weather. So, yeah, that's definitely a thing. Justin Miller asks if I could have one knife for the rest of my life, which would it be? Justin, I have a whole video about that, and it made me suffer a great deal. So, there you go. Let's see here. Chimichanga95 asks, do I believe in Bigfoot? Chimichanga, Keith's angry in the text, nice. Do I believe in Bigfoot? I have yet to see compelling evidence for Bigfoot's existence. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in him. It just means that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and I haven't gotten that yet. That's all. So, if somebody gives me evidence of a Bigfoot, I'm totally game. But so far, what I've seen, and given I haven't spent too much time looking at the issue here, ain't super compelling to me. Loch Ness, the Loch Ness Monster, I'm not a super believer in either. I was in Loch Ness, by the way, recently. Well, not recently, last summer. We went on our honeymoon. We actually went out by Loch Ness. Beautiful freaking place. Love the lake. But I'm not so thinking the monster was a thing. Steve Rasmussen is saying that I am Bigfoot. Actually, that's quite possible. It could be. That'd be a plot twist, right? It's like freaking KOTOR. You suddenly figure... Anyways, that's beside the point. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic players, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, there you go. NWDMG says, no, Nick isn't Bigfoot, he's small hand. Nice. Let's see here. What do we got here? Daniel R. says, as an acoustician, how scared of deepfakes am I? So deepfakes, for those of you not aware, are when people are using modern machine learning methods, usually neural networks, some variety of, for those, probably convolutional, although there's some generative component. Anyways, beside the point. They're using neural networks in order to basically change a voice to sound like another voice, to give it certain inflectional qualities, etc., that tend to make something. Look, scared? I think it's definitely going to make for an interesting time because it's going to become harder and harder to attribute a video or a voice to an actual person, right? You know, you can generate fake information about pretty much anybody. There were some very good videos already demonstrating that. Jordan Peele, I believe, did a video on that where he deep-faked Obama. It was quite entertaining. But anyways, it will definitely force us to continue to reevaluate our information sources, right? And to make sure that the things that we're hearing have been vouched for, not, by multiple sources. It's not just one video clip. However, at the same time, am I terrified of them? No. There's always been fakery, and we've always found ways around it. And right now, the thing is, those systems are very good, but they're not that good. There are still going to be ways to find them. So anyways, there you go. Yeah, and images are definitely there too. Let's see here. I actually had a very nice conversation with Greg Medford at Blade Show. I walked up, I introduced myself to him. He showed me some of their latest stuff. They have an automatic knife now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, it's a really good step for him, actually. And he was nothing but personable. He was nothing but like he was good. He was solid. He was a nice person to talk to. So my opinion of Greg Medford personally is, he's been very nice to me. So yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Joseph Shanning asks, who is my main in Smash? So Joseph, I don't really play Super Smash Brothers very often. A couple of buddies have it. But I have played it in the past. Historically, I have been a Link person. Just because Link is, well, he's a link to my past, if you will. So there you go. There you go. Wilson Ride asks, more watch reviews, please. Absolutely, I'm on it. Definitely going to be working on Monta Atlas here soon. I just filmed one of a Mido Ocean Star that should go live on Monday. I got some watch reviews coming for you guys. No doubt about that. DR Warncliffe asks, ever think about making videos on other hobbies? I actually made a video at one point in time about the BS that audiophiles pull. That people who are, high-end stereos, and I'm going to kind of keep doing some things like that a little bit. But honestly, for the most part, I think everyday carry gear is one of the most interesting elements of things. There's definitely a part of me that would love to start up a Twitch channel or something like that. But remember, at the end of the day, this is not my day job. I have a full-time job, and then I do this because I'm insane. That's why you see me here at 8:12 on a Friday night, rather than out, having a life. Although, what kind of life would I have? I'm a huge nerd. Anyways, that's for me at least, I don't think I've got the time to bring another hobby into here. And Clarence 1, I don't want to completely diminish the value of vacuum tubes. They can lead to a very interesting sound signature, but it's not necessarily fidelity. Metal Complex asks, serious question. What do you think the next really big thing will be in the knife world? New locks, new super steels, super cheap integrals? Surely we've hit a ceiling of sorts. Metal Complex, that's a really good question. I really don't know. I wish I did, or else I'd be playing the stock market or something. Well, stock market. Knife makers aren't publicly traded by and large. Anyways, that's beside the point. That'd be weird, borderline inside trading, right? Thank you, Rob. The next big thing, honestly, I hope the next big thing is design. I hope the next big thing is makers competing to make knives that are as good as possible as functional cutting tools. So thin edges, good steels, that kind of thing. I hope that the next big thing are knives that are trying to convince people that, a knife is a good quality tool. Sure, it can be crazy. Sure, it can be absurd. It can be, all kinds of weird. It can be, you can do things like this. But I really hope that makers are going to be competing to make the very best practical tool they can, rather than to make something that is a little bit nuts for everybody else. So yeah, that would kind of be my biggest hope there. One other thing, Metal Complex, that I will say is I'm very much hoping that there will be a trend towards knives that are marketed and targeted towards people who are outside the conventional knife community. We're outside the EDC world. Knives that are being marketed towards, for instance, the outdoors audience, towards hipsters. I mean, like James Brand has done a good job attacking the hipster front. Benchmade as well with their Shinola collaboration. Summit Knife Company is doing a good job of going after the outdoor people. I think that's really going to be a crucial area for the knife companies to get into, because we're hitting saturation among the high-speed, low-drag tactical. You can't just keep shouting first responder over and over and over again and expect that to keep selling people new knives. And so I very much hope that we see a resurgence of a marketing that is knives are tools. They can be used to defend yourself in an absolute worst case scenario. In the gravest extreme, maybe they can be used in that domain. But for most of us, they're cutting open boxes and envelopes. And you know how freaking useful it is to have a knife on you? That's the kind of thing we need to get across to people. We need to have knives in soccer moms' pockets because then they'll realize, holy crap, this is super useful. I don't want to support politicians who support bad knife laws. We want to have knives in, the pack of a rock climber who needs to have something there. It's better than a freaking MTAC in case their rope gets tangled. We need to have knives associated with better people. I'm sorry, not better people. That's a terrible thing to say. But we need to have knives associated with bigger groups of people. That's what I meant to say. With a better number of people. And so I hope very much that there is a trend away from the, knives are weapons, self-defense, protect my family marketing that's been going on, and towards the, let's just bring more people and let them know just how damn useful it is to have an edge tool in your pocket. So to me, at least, that's kind of where I would land. Is I think that's the most interesting thing that knives can do in the future here. Nathan is asking me to say, yeah, the boys. Sure, there you go. Have fun. It's your $2.99 there, buddy. There we go. What do we got here? Let's see here. Long-time viewer, thank you, Ethan. Love the channel. Lion Steel Roundhead Spear Point, the best knife for a modernized traditional worth the price. Lion Steel, what's the best knife for a modern traditional these days? There are a lot of really good options. For instance, J Made is making these very excellent modernized traditionals. I've got this little guy here as part of my collection. This is a very, very nice knife. It is very much a modern traditional style knife. The Lion Steel ones are pretty decent. Round head, there's the Shuffler, etc. I don't know which ones are being made these days. Disassembly's a pain in the neck on them, so that's something to keep in mind. The J Maids have kind of nailed that. Who else is doing really good modern slip joints? The Nundy. Frankly, for me, I think that's the best modernized traditional thing. So, yeah, I think that's definitely a thing. Pinky 2019 says it's absurd to market knives to carry as weapons. You'll get in all kinds of legal problems. Look, certainly, again, I don't want to diminish the fact that that can be a use of them. However, more specifically, I talked about this in one of my knife gripes. Every time that a company makes a tactical tomahawk, they make it so much easier for a scared lawmaker, or more specifically for a manipulative lawmaker who wants to appeal to scared people to pass laws. That bothers me a lot. I really want to see that change for exactly that reason, Pinky. That's a really good point. Mo Jal asks, best folder for the zombie apocalypse. For the zombie apocalypse, you want a fixed blade. Let's be real here. You're not going to have time to maintain your folder as you're being chased by zombies. But if I had to pick one really beefy folder for whatever comes, probably the Shaman's a pretty good choice for me. That's probably where I would go. I think it's a very nice, hardest sort of use knife, but it still cuts very well. And particularly the M4. I think this would probably be my personal choice. If, I don't know what the heck's about to happen, that's probably the one I'd grab. Let's see here. What are we doing here? Let's see here. To fund a custom Z Hunter by a custom maker, Jackie Chow. Thank you very much, Jackie. That's definitely been something that's amused me as an idea. At some level, that is cloning, and I'm not necessarily sure I'm in love with that. However, I think there's a way to do that in a classy way, and there have been thoughts along those lines. Let's just say that. Let's see here. Brian Lai actually asks, along the lines of expanding the knife user base to more regular non-tactical types, how did you end up getting into knives, Nick? Might have missed this from another of your videos. It's a good question, Brian. I got into knives mostly out of need of a good cutting tool, right? For a long time I carried this little guy. Come here, little guy. Here you go. This little guy, the Leatherman Squirt P4. I ended up orange peeling it my damn self, etc. Really, really, really impressive little tool that can serve me well for many years. So I carried a knife for a long time, but it wasn't, much of one. And I realized in a couple of situations, like, wow, I could use a little bit more knife. And so I ended up doing some research, right? And this was probably, 10, 12 years ago, something like that. And I ended up doing a bunch of research. And I went on, like, for instance, Reddit's Our Knives or Our Knife Club eventually down the road. It's a subreddit that, Knife Clubs particularly, I'm actually a moderator over there, although I'm kind of a slacker at it. But nevertheless, that is and so I just realized, I need better knives than that. So I ended up going that way. And then that led me down the path and found higher end knives. And I remember the day where it was like $120 $40 for a knife? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Hashtag crying in a Batman mask. But yeah, there you go. Although, to be fair, I mean, my very first knife that I had, come here. My very first knife, and I still need to do a review of this little guy. Can I not get to you right now because I've got, come here. Was this little guy. This is a Cub Scout knife, because I was a Cub Scout way back when. I didn't go on to complete the full Boy Scout training because I ended up changing schools to one that didn't have a troop and whatnot. But nevertheless, this was my very first, not this one particularly. I reordered one. It was my first knife, and so, you know, started early, but yeah, there you go. I was always into tools and such. I actually have a whole video on my EDC journey on the Casio. It's a Casio watch. It's kind of crazy. Let's see here. If I had to pick one multi-tool to use and carry for the rest of my life, what would it be? Schwizzy, I did that video for knives already, but multi-tools, it would be the Leatherman Wave. This is a Leatherman Wave that I bought actually not so far after I, well, no. It was a little bit before I got into knives. Either way, it's a really good tool. It served me well. Thank you very much, Ethan Colella, for the kind words there. Thank you very much, William Pennington, again, for the kind words. It's absolutely a nice thing. Let's see here. Yeah, people are asking, holy crap, you've got Reddit? Yeah, I'm Nick Shabazz on Reddit. One word. There you go. Problem solved. Please don't DM me. Let's see here. I Need You says, why do you never see me on Knife Swap anymore? It's because I'm doing all my selling on Patreon? Pardon me. Let me grab some water real quick. But long story short, a lot of my selling is going on Patreon these days. And, yeah, it's just, it's quicker. And that's the thing. I am so low on time that if I'm dicking around with some guy who isn't really sure whether he wants to buy a Benchmade 940, well, I'm not selling a 940, but still, if I'm dicking around with that, that gets to be a lot of time sink, and I just run out of that. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hawkwit is saying, Nick, hey, Hawkwit, good to see you. Hawkwit's a patron of mine. Show off the Shaman, his being lost in transit, which I've been following, but my heart is broken for you, Hawkwit. He has an S90V carbon fiber Shaman that has been lost in transit. Hopefully it'll get found, but oh my God, that's tough. That's really tough. Let's see here. Nick, some people would say I'm a stripper or a male porn star. Can you shed light on these accusations? That's not a question I expected tonight. I didn't think people were going to find out my shameful secret. But, yeah. See, I do pose nude. Okay, that's a bad joke. No, I'm not a stripper nor a male porn star. Mind you, there's no shame in sex work, but at the same time, that's not my particular... Let's face it, I'm a freaking Yeti. That doesn't quite work out so well. If I'm Bigfoot, no one wants to see me, yeah. Anyways, that's beside the point. Not nearly hot enough for that. Let's go on, move on really quickly there. Let's see here. Tong Hey asks, impressions about the Wingman EDC Mayo MDD. Oh, good Lord, people again. Anyways, back at the ranch. I actually handled one of those guys. It was actually pretty nice. They had one over at the Recon 1 booth, and yeah, it was nice. Pretty reasonable. Let's see here. What do we got here? Oh, the chat has just gone completely nuts. We're going to go on ahead and move on. Let's scroll back a little bit to find the question I can answer here. Let's see here. Richard Huntsman, if I checked out the Sheepdog Mini, I didn't love its older brother. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't love the smaller one either. Ergonomically, just didn't make any sense to me. It's going to come on, but yeah, there you go. Where is the busker? William Bennington, you're breaking my heart over here. The busker unfortunately belongs to some jackass who pickpocketed me in Vegas. But I'm working on getting another one here soon. Do I have any info on the Civivi Praxis? I have no idea, my friend. Unfortunately, Civivi seems to be cranking out a new knife every freaking week and not doing much for the old ones. It's kind of a shame. Let's see here. Metallica or Megadeth? I am not particularly familiar with Megadeth's work. That's not a diss or anything. I just don't know. But Metallica's got some pretty solid stuff. And, you know, I don't know. Nothing else matters, so maybe that means Megadeth doesn't matter? I'm not sure. Let's see here. What do we got? High hopes for the next Star Wars movie? You're breaking my heart over here. You're breaking my heart. Someday there will be a good Star Wars movie again. Rogue One was good. Not holding my breath, though. Oh, Disney. Oh, Disney. What do we got here? Let's see here. Which Shirogorov do I recommend, Beacon of Doubt? Honestly, at this point, I don't recommend Shirogorov just because their pricing is so insane. I feel like, given, for instance, knives like the CKF Sukhoi or the Koenig Arius, which is, by the way, Koenig Knives Arius, not Koenig Arius, as I say. Somebody asked, on Blade forums, what what the heck is a Koenig-Arius? Like, whoops, my bad. But anyways, they're just so overpriced. Like, I look at anything from Shirogorov and I'm like, wow, that's amazing if there's $200 included under the clip. I just can't do it. I handled a bunch of them at Blade Show and it's just like, that's amazing, but no, I can't. I can't pay that price. I just can't. I can't. So, yeah. There you go. Let's see here. Choco Boy Bravo asks, no love for fixed blade knives. Choco Boy, not really. I don't spend that much time doing fixed blade tasks, so fixed blade knives don't make that much sense for me to review. So there you go. Let's see here. I'm going to be attacked by animals, says Brian Dorn. That's not a threat. Would you prefer to be attacked by 10 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? I'm going to go with the duck-sized horses because I tend to be a relatively peaceful person. And 10 duck-sized horses, I feel like I can get above them. Like, I can climb onto something, and then I will be free of any concern because horses can't really jump particularly, and then there won't be any issue. They'll just kind of go around down there, and, worst case scenario, if one of them gets really, problematic, I imagine I can get a good kick going and get some air on a duck-sized horse, So I'd hate to have that come to that, because a duck-sized horse would be pretty cute, in my opinion, but still, that's going to be my approach, certainly. Let's see here. What do we got here? Zach Krine is asking, just wanted to ask if the audience knows about the glorious review that is about to grace them, or if it is still a secret, and I don't know which review you're talking about, Zach Krine. I have lots of glorious reviews that are about to grace them. But yeah, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about there, buddy. Nice try, though. Appreciate that. Let's see here. My opinion on Bestech knives, asks Rick Williams. Actually, Bestech been doing some pretty impressive work. I dropped a review recently of the Malware, which had a silly name, but it was a very nicely done knife. I've been pretty impressed with them. I think they're stepping up to be a very nice competitor to companies like We Knives, etc. So yeah, Baby Simba's asking, I'm going to Papua New Guinea, I assume, or probably not some other Papua, to pick up, so I want to pick up an LC200N knife. Good idea. I'm not sure how to pick between the three. So, I mean, if you need a fixed blade, obviously the Spyderco Waterway is going to be a choice. That's pretty much the only LC200N fixed blade that's easy to get these days. You also have the option of the Spyderco Spidey Chef right here, and you have the native LC200N, which is usually yellow. For me personally, I don't know. It's tough. It's real tough. This is fancier, but honestly, for travel or, popularizing, I might just go with the native. It's a really good knife. It's high quality. It'll do what you need to do. It's reliable. It's not too fancy. This is probably where I would send you. So, yeah, I'd probably go that way. Oh, there's the Caribbean as well. If you need something much bigger, the Caribbean's a really great choice. But otherwise, yeah, no. Detective Roger Davis asks, this is a little creative, do you think loot boxes are gambling and should the government regulate them? So, Detective Roger Davis, I'm not going to take a strong stand on the legal definition of gambling and whether that applies to game-based loot boxes, which, by the way, is where you pay a certain amount of real-world money for a virtual box that contains virtual goods that, might equip your character better or allow you to win, because it's pay to win. But what I will say is that by and large, every game that uses them is solid trash. There are exceptions where they're done with like costumes and things like that don't affect gameplay, but microtransactions are a bane of gaming, and I cannot wait for them to die off and ideally be regulated into dust, because that's the clearest way I see them being killed. But at the very least, I think any company using microtransactions for things for children, or frankly, just in general, kind of is not, I'm not a fan of that. That just sucks. Let's see here. Ruwaiki, thank you, Donald McGregor. Ruwaiki and Rake, that is an Ontario knife company, is Benchmade ECS waste of money. I have no idea what you're saying. Is Benchmade a waste of money? There are definitely some pricing things that they could stand to do a little bit better, and I agree that there are lots of really good knives coming out of folks like Ontario over here, or Rake, Ruwaiki, whatever the heck you are, you're Reiki. these are solid pieces here, but I think there is a realm for higher end stuff, and Benchmade's got some cool stuff lately. The S90V carbon fiber proper, that's a proper knife right there. Very, very nice. So there we go. What do we got here? Am I a fan of Halo? Asked Jacob M. I assume you're talking about the game Halo rather than the Microtech Halo or the high altitude, low opening type of jump out of a plane. But nevertheless, I played Halo some. I never really had an Xbox, so I didn't play Halo much. It's a fine thing, but it's not necessarily my thing. Let's see. How much of an upgrade is the version 3 Spectre? Compared to version 2, it's not a huge upgrade. It's nicer, certainly. They've made some nice tweaks to it, but by and large, they're all good knives. There's no real concern there. Let's see here. Crewware Micarta Shaman. Will this be a buy for you? No, because I have a Micarta M4 Shaman, and that'll do me just fine. Summit Knives Half Dome any good? Scott Simmons, actually. That review will, if I'm not mistaken, launch tomorrow, so you'll find out then. Teaser. Let's see here. Domino's and Little Caesars. So actually, where I ended up living in Michigan, not so far from the corporate headquarters of Domino's. For me, I don't know, I'd go Domino's personally, but that's okay. I think both of them are pretty reasonable. But honestly, for me, ordering pizza, I tend to go elsewhere. Let's see here. Austin asks, Buffalo Wild Wings or Wingstop? So I am a vegetarian there, Austin, so I am the very last person to say this to you. However, I do know that my wife, who is a wing enthusiast, will 100% drive a fair, and I said wing, by the way, wing enthusiast is absolutely will drive a good deal of time for a Wingstop set of wings, so she is a fan. She is definitely a fan. So that'll do. Nice try. Nice try. Let's see here. Where did I get my Carter skills for the Shaman? Shepherd CC online. Clarence 1 asks, does the wife still like peanut butter? Yes, absolutely. She remains a peanut butter enthusiast. Do I think Spyderco will make a smaller Paisan? I sure hope so. I would love to see Spyderco do some of the integrals with thinner blade stock. I'd love to see that. A mini Paisan from Spyderco, be still my beating freaking heart. That would be amazing. Let's see here. How do I feel about pineapple on pizza? There is only one answer to that, and that is good to go. I love me some pineapple pizza. 100%. Do I have a favorite locking mechanism? The compression lock is really good. I mean, I think it's a very, very nice locking mechanism. I own a lot of frame locks. They're solid too. A good button lock is really nice. Especially, although this happens to be an automatic, the Protec Mordax, Ferrum Forge, Master Up, Protec, whatever, that whole affair, there is a lot to be said for an excellent button lock, and Protec makes excellent button locks. I really hope that there are more unassisted button locks in their future. That's definitely a thing. Let's see here. Hawkwood asked, have you ever bought a knife for your wife? Does she have a favorite? Yeah, my wife, one of the very first knives I ever bought for her was a little pink Spyderco Ladybug. Purple. She's not really a pink gal. That's in terms of her color preferences. She is, like me, relatively pinkish. But that's beside the point. Anyways, so I bought her one of those guys, and I have bought her as well a... what else have I bought her? I bought that ZT for me, and she damn near commandeered a Todd Begg Field Marshal I had around, because, yeah, she's kind of crazy like that. But, yeah, that's a thing. Let's see here. My wife wishes I had a button lock. I have a button lock. So she's happy. There we go. What is the most valuable coding language to learn in your opinion? William Yeater asks. Yeater? I don't know. Do you eat things, William? You're going to have to help me with them. Anyways, for me, I would say Python right now. Because data science is a booming field right now, and Python is primarily the language of data science. Sure, you could make an argument that languages like R, which specialize in statistical reasoning, are going to be more helpful, and certainly there are languages like Rust, for instance, or Go, etc., that are going to beat Python in terms of raw speed. But in terms of just general speaking, I need to learn a programming language. Python is really good, because it's a good language for deep learning, which is currently a fad, but is also a very useful thing, as well as generalized machine learning and statistical inference, which I think is going to be more and more relevant in a lot of people's lives in corporate America. So for me, I'm definitely 100% going with Python. Python is the language I use. Actually, there's a chance I spend more time. I probably write more lines of code in Python, but I spend more time dicking with R, so, both of them are solid. But, I do a lot of statistical analysis, so R is unfortunately kind of where I land. So there you go. And by the way, that is R as in the letter R. I'm sorry, as the Americans would say, R. There you go. That one. I'm American, but yeah. Nevertheless, what are we doing here? Is there a knife that is bested the master knife in awfulness yet? Not yet. There have been some really strong stuff, but not quite yet. I think that one may still. Well, no, it's hard to compare. It's like comparing turds. I mean, the only person who wins is whoever's not doing that, right? Let's see here. What's the worst knife over $100? That's tough to say, Awkward. I mean, there were a lot of really good contenders for that one. It kind of depends on where you want your suck to occur, right? I mean, do you want it to be a bad value? Do you want it to be bad construction, bad fit and finish? There were so many good options for bad knives in the expensive world. So there you go. What do we got here? What was my best memory of Blade Show? Matthew Steiner. Matthew, that's a really good question. I'm trying to think back about it. At some level, and I'll cover this more in my general Blade Show video, but the thing is, I don't know. There were a lot of really nice things that happened at Blade Show. I had some really great conversations with great people. I got to shake hands with Sal Glesser, Eric Glesser at Spyderco. I got to, meet some of the higher-ups at a bunch of companies, John DeAssis, etc. I got to meet a bunch of cool people, got to say, and frankly, some people I'd talked with before, meeting the Holtz, etc. That's always a nice thing. But best memories, honestly, there was a lot of joy there. I ended up walking around with a couple of buddies of mine, one of which was relatively new to knives, and so I got to experience the world of high-end crazy knives through the eyes of somebody who had never heard of Ron Best, that kind of thing, who had never seen some of these. And so it's just like, okay, here. You absolutely 100% need to look at this particular knife right now. This is, his name is Darren. Like, Darren, check this piece out here. Got to be the very first time he ever handled, something really crazy high-end. Experiencing that was very nice to see. But otherwise, the pit, it's a big area where a bunch of knife geeks hang out after the show until all hours of the night. I was able to be down in the pit one of the nights, and it was just great, because at one point in time, I was sitting there, and I'm not going to drop names because that's a little tacky, but sitting there, with on a freaking bunch of chairs with like 4 knife makers I really, really respect, and just chatting. And, it was mostly, talking about the shop, like, oh, how are you doing? And, there's not that much I have to say. But nevertheless, because, what the hell do I know? But it was just really cool to sit there and chat with them and, to meet these folks and, to get to know them a little better as humans. To meet, for instance, one of the people, it was a real source of joy for me. People who were really excited to meet me, like, I shouldn't out him. But anyways, there were some very nice people out there who I was very glad to make their acquaintance and who shared stories about, the fact that they've loved the channel, etc. That was a beautiful thing. So yeah, there was a lot of joy there. Yeah. Anyways, that's beside the point. And frankly, just meeting people like Sky from the Grimsmo Knives crew was very nice, along with the Grimsmos who I'd met before. Just good people over there. So there you go. What are we doing here? Is my favorite movie Blade Runner? Nice. It's a good movie. I actually really like the sequel. Partly because of the soundtrack. The soundtrack for the Blade Runner 2048 was amazing, but also the cinematography. It was just beautifully done. I haven't seen such effective use of color in a movie since Eyes Wide Shut, which, by the way, kids, that give that one a few years. That's a pretty hardcore, that's a movie. Anyways, that's beside the point. What's the Spyderco in the middle? Pair of 3 lightweight. Actually, for the people watching along at home, Chris Reeve Sabenza, Mid-Ethereum, Alliance Design, Pat Hammond Scout, Herman Knives Custom Sting, pair of 3 Spyderco lightweight, Holt Spectre, Protec Sprint, Millet Torrent, and Brad Southern Mini Tolk. So yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Which Blade Runner version? I think I most recently saw it, a year ago, so probably that one. Chuck Norris went to Blade Show just to meet Nick. I did not meet Chuck Norris at Blade Show. If he was there, he was so stealthy I couldn't tell. What's my opinion on the Sabenza 31? I assume is the one you're asking about here. Honestly, it's a Sabenza. That is my opinion. It is 100% a Sabenza. Owning a Sabenza 21, do I have any feeling of strong need to own a 31? No, not really. I mean, it's good, but it's an incremental upgrade. They fix some things. So, yeah, there you go. Chad Waters, have I ever broken a bone? How old was I? Yeah. So check this out. These are my hands. You've seen them before. I'm gonna rotate them so that both palms face the camera. This is as far as I can go on this side, whereas this one I can rotate all the way in. It's actually because I chipped the bone inside, I think it was on my radius or ulna. I forget which one. I think it was the ulna. Either way, I chipped the bone inside that joint, and so now I don't have full range of motion in this arm, which actually, by the way, is why I'm not a very effective guitarist. That and the little, the LBHs, so to speak. So, yeah, those are definitely, that's my bone that I've broken, so to speak. Have I broken other bones? I feel like I have. Either way. It may just be it. Anyways, the guy does stuff. Favorite original movie soundtrack. Tron Legacy, I actually haven't seen that yet. The Tolkien trilogy is absolutely, oh, come on. What was the name of the composer for the Lord of the Rings? This is gonna kill Howard Shore. Howard Shore and his use of the leitmotifs on that one, just, oh, man, that was a good soundtrack. I'll give you that any day of the week. For me, well, the latest Blade Runner soundtrack, that was really good. What else do I really have and like? There are a bunch of really good soundtracks out there. Angelo Badalamenti does, Fifth Element. Fifth Element had a really good soundtrack. This is completely beside the point. And no complaining about it. Actually, so I got a story for you guys. Somebody just commented, Matthew Steiner said, Enya, ugh. So Matthew, I hear you. Work with me here for a second. Let's back up. Let's go back in time. We're stumbling backwards through the time. This was my very first day of my freshman year of college. And as most people do in their first year of college, and perhaps in their later years of college as well, I had a roommate, a really nice guy. Anyways, so I got to the room earlier than this guy did. You know, maybe 3 or 4 hours. I moved in a little bit early, and so by the time he arrived, I was already all set up. I had my computer out, and I was playing music because, you know, that's what you do, right? And I had my music on shuffle. And so I am sitting here, I think I'm cleaning the window or something like that. You know, how to disassemble and maintain your damn dorm room. You know the story, right? And he walks in, and Enya is playing on my computer. And it was like freaking Caribbean Blue or something like that. Good song, don't get me wrong. So Enya is playing, and he's, you know, looking at me and kind of like, okay, you're weird. And to be fair, I am, and he knew that even more and more. After a while, we came to the conclusion that we didn't understand each other, and that was okay. We could still live together. But anyways, so we're talking, and Enya's playing in the background, and then random hits, and it's Rob Zombie, Dragula from the Matrix soundtrack. Yeah. Nice. So on that very first day, I think he got the impression that I'm just completely nuts, and he gave up right then. So there you go. Jonah Gordon asks, opinion on deep blue watches. I actually haven't had one handy, but they look kind of nice. So there you go. What do we got here? Play the 5 tones? Is that like 5 tones? What do you want about here? Is that like musica ricercata? Like liggity? I don't know what you're talking about there. A 12 tone? I don't know. Anyways, that's beside the point. Let's see here. Certainly, oh God, I can't remember the composer of the freaking Charlie Brown stuff. This is gonna bug me. Okay, chat, help me out here. Who composed all the Charlie Brown, like the jazz theme and such? This is gonna be a problem for me otherwise. No, not George Winston. George Winston's good. Come on. That's a problem. Mac or PC, for me, I'm a Mac person, although Linux is quite good. I'm definitely a big fan. Vince Guaraldi, thank you very much. Appreciate it there, Chaz Welch. But anyways, I'm definitely a Mac person. Apple is losing me more and more every day as they move further and further away from their Unix root. I'm thinking of moving to Linux at some point in time, but I am liking their emphasis on privacy of late. You know, even if it's all in there, you know, I don't know. I'm a little torn there. So, and Linux unfortunately doesn't run some of the software I need, so I'm a little bit between a rock and a hard place, and Windows is not an option for me. Let's see here. What do I consider to be the most durable, inexpensive mechanical watch for EDC? Angler 406, a quartz watch is your best choice. If you want durable and inexpensive, go buy a Citizen ProMaster Diver and you're done. I wouldn't recommend mechanical for a durable watch situation. Just don't. Just get a quartz, it'll be better. There you go. Justin Miller, what do you think is the worst way to die? I say burning. Oh, that's a really dark question. And actually, I'm not just going to go there because that's not super happy. But yeah, in the medical world, there were a lot of worse ways to go than burning. We're just going to go ahead and say that. Stevens Johnson comes to mind as a syndrome. Yeah, that's ugly. Anyways, next to the point. Nico Diaz is asking me R or Python. For me personally, I grew up in R, and the data visualization packages are a lot better. I didn't grow up in it, but I switched to it as quickly as I could. Data visualization packages are better. Python's better for deep learning. Most of my time, I'm still working in R, but that's just because I'm more fluent with it. If I was very fluent in Python, I would go that way 100%. Favorite actor to play Batman, asks Ethan Brackett. Well, clearly, I am available, Hollywood. If you ever need a convincing, pudgy freaking Batman, yeah, have at it. But yeah, that would be a favorite actor for Batman. I would love to see Idris Elba as Batman. That would be freaking amazing. He would be very good. Although, actually, I'd rather see him as James Bond. He would be a great James Bond. He's actually freaking British. No one seems to know this because he did such a damn good job with the Wire and in The Office as being not British. But yeah, I don't know. Who would I want to see as Batman? It's tough to say. Bale was good. Bale was very good. Yeah. What are we doing here? I also like the idea of a female James Bond. This sounds really crazy, but it isn't necessarily. I mean, imagine a female James Bond who is just every bit a womanizer. I think that would have some legs. I think that could make for some interesting, I think it could be done. You would need one hell of an actress to pull it off, but I have no problem with that. That would be great. What is my favorite knife on the table? Let's see here. What are we doing? Jason Statham as James Bond. I don't know. I see him more as a Batman type, personally. Favorite knife that's on the table here? That's so tough. I've got so many really good stuff on there. That would be great. Pinky, I am vegetarian, not vegan. You can take cheese from my cold, dead, cholesterolized hands. Nope. That's a thing. But there we go. What else do we have here? Impossible Burger. Oh, good God, the Impossible Burger. So this is a thing now. This is a kind of burger. You can get them at a lot of burger chains now. It is a soy-based burger that actually tastes kind of creepily like meat. At some level, for me, it's almost a little weird. It's like, it makes me question each time. Like, did they accidentally serve me beef? It is really, like, my wife agrees. Like, she's a freaking carnivore. Like, wow, that's meaty. It's a little strange. It is very, very strange. But I do like soy burgers 100%. Let's see here. What are we doing? Homer is Batman. That would be what it would be if it was me. Least favorite actor to play Batman. Yeah, Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi, I think, would be the worst Batman that I can picture. And that's not a dig on him. I think he'd be a very good, he's a great character actor, but I don't see him as Batman. Who is my favorite super high-end knife maker? Hendrix Flips asks. Hey, Hendrix, I think I met you at Blade Show. Nice to meet you, or nice to see you again. Anyways, that's beside the point. The Holts are up there. I like them a lot. The Grimsmos I like a lot. CKF's been doing some great work lately. Koenig. There are a lot of really good choices now. There's a lot of really good choices. Christopher Walken is Batman. That'd be amazing. Oh, man, would that be great. Pee Wee Herman is Batman. He's got enough breadth. Like, he was pretty compellingly, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. But there you go. Let's see here. What two knives would I combine to make a perfect knife? Oh, that's tough. Oh, that's real tough. I don't know. I'd have to think a lot longer on that one. Norm MacDonald is Robin. I can see that. I would see that. Okay. What do we got here? Have I looked at the S35 VN $20 folding knife? I haven't. A couple of buddies looked at it. It's just like, nah, I'm good, thanks. Rob Schneider is Batman. Oh, God, that'd be funny. That would be absolutely hilarious. I am not going there, but yeah. Nope. Does one really need 10,000 lumens? I'm sorry, 10,000 lumens! This is a reference to this little light right here, the Nightcore TM10K, which I will use to charge the lume on my watch because I am a jackass like that. I actually like this light a lot more than I should. Given I got a good deal on it, I'm not necessarily sending people out to buy it, but I really like this light. This is the light that if I am going outside for any length of time at night, I am most likely to carry with me because it kind of has it all, right? It's a really good floody lamp. You can go crazy bright with it. It's just good. It's stupid. You shouldn't pay this much money for it, but it is a good light. And so, no, I don't need 10,000 lumens, but I just like it a lot. So there it is. What is the most expensive knife I have? Probably my ProTech here. Although the Holt I've just ordered will top it. So, yeah, that's a thing. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a little bright, certainly. Did I get a chance to check out the new Shabazz 229? I actually never did, and I'm frustrated with myself. The thing is, Blade Show is an amazing experience, but you are drinking from the fire hose, so to speak. There were so many people with so many knives, and so many people to talk to as well, that it was, on the last day, I kept running around like, oh, crap, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. It's like, oh... And then, of course, by Sunday, everybody's freaking sold out anyways. So it's just like, it's tough. So no, I didn't, and that's sad. I wish I could have. But definitely there. Let's see here. Does my wife think my knife obsession is healthy? She is more amused by it than anything. Like, I will show her everything that comes across my table, and, some things, like, she likes this guy a lot. I think she thinks it's a very attractive knife, and as it is, she, really likes this guy. But some of them she finds, like, okay, she finds this particular knife to be a little bit gaudy, where, yep, that's true. It is gaudy, I suppose. She likes the Tolk, the mini Tolk a lot. She can appreciate them, but she's also, there's a video of her and me, where we're going to do that. So, yeah. Let's see here. Can I give a ballpark on my money spent at Blade Show on knives? Did I spend any money on knives at Blade Show? That's a crazy question for me to ask, but at some level... So, look, I flew, and I flew with just a backpack. I lived out of one backpack for the entire weekend. Batman mask and all. So, I really didn't want to buy many knives. And the only knife that I ended up leaving the show with, so to speak, although it went home with Slicey Dicey, another reviewer you should check out, was this guy. I don't think I bought a knife at Blade Show. I did come home and buy knives. In fact, I just bought $300 worth of knives from A.G. Russell, because I didn't want to take a freebie because I don't know how the quality is yet. But anyways, so I bought a bunch of knives from A.G. Russell when I got home. And what else did I buy? And I finalized an order for a $1,300 Holt, which is a thing. But yeah, that's a situation. People are asking me about other things that I'm not planning to discuss. That's cool. Paul Zabit asks, am I in the witness protection program? Paul, if I was, could I tell you? Let's see here. Bulliver brand watch vid coming soon. I actually have a review of the Bulliver Moon watch, so check that out. But they, by and large, they're reasonable, that is. A.G. Russell, yeah, they've got some very nice... I haven't looked at them because, honestly, I hadn't spent time with it. A lot of them were R8 CR13 MOV steel, and the thing is, that's not ideal, but actually handling them, there were enough of them in the prices. $300 worth of knives from them is like 4 different knives, which is... and some reasonably nice stuff. So, after spending time at the booth and looking through their catalog, I found some things that I think are very nice, despite their steels being a little bit subpar. So there you go. Let's see here. Bulliver Curve, any thoughts? Never tried one. Sorry about that. What do we got here? This channel is on the cutting edge. Yes, it is. Okay. Thank you very much, Stephen Perez, for the kind words. Night Squats, H1 thoughts, go. My thoughts on H1 is that LC200N is a thing, so H1 doesn't need to be anymore. It's put very simply, and, certainly H1 might have some advantages in some situation I can't possibly imagine, but in my experience, there is no reason that I would ever choose H1 over the equivalently rust-proof, or damn near equivalently, LC200N. I mean, seriously, that I don't see that need anymore. So, I do have one knife in H1. Got me a knife in H1. This little guy. But that's... and insuration is the only really way to go for it. But yeah, that's a thing. Let's see here. I should get into archery, says Matthew Steiner. I should, but the thing is, I live in an apartment. It's not super easy, like I'm going down the hallway in my apartment building. Like, really? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see here. Guys, actually, I've been talking for the better part, oh my God, for 100 minutes. That's a lot of minutes right there. So I hope this has been interesting to you. I hope that you found some joy from it. And I think I should probably go on ahead and wrap it up. It has been beautiful as always to talk with you guys. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the great questions. And thank you for, yeah, dropping some things. Anyways, I hope this is interesting to you, that you enjoyed the interpretive dance. And